Hello and welcome to the basketball show on New Zealand Radio Sport. A couple of minutes late tonight. Sorry, it's rushing around trying to get things done. This is just a little side hobby. So if I had a whole crew of people, I'm sure it'd be much more professional. But anyway, here we are for the basketball show. So we're right in the middle of the playoffs. So most of the chat tonight will be around the NBA playoffs. There'll be quite a bit of video footage as well. Because we don't get a lot of that on our TV. We might get 10 seconds of Steven Adams and a couple of game-winning shots, but not a lot of basketball. So you're in the right place to see some basketball. Firstly, we'll just look at yesterday's results. We'll bring that up on screen. So we've had some close series and some whitewashes. So yesterday, the Celtics beat the Sixers to take out that series 4-0. So Celtics are through to the next round. We had a really good game between the Clippers and the Mavs. Luka hit an absolute amazing game winner. We'll get to that shortly. We've got a bit of footage for you there. Also, the Raptors beat the Nets in a very high-scoring game. And I've actually got a stat about that game there. So that was the first time that a team has had 100 points scored off the bench. So the Raptors bench players combined for, I think it was exactly 100 points there. You can see Serge Ibaka. He was an Oklahoma City Thunder player 5 or 6 years ago, started with Durant and Russell Westbrook. So he's still doing pretty well. He's getting on in his career now, but an integral part of that Raptors team who won the title last year, and they're looking pretty strong again. This year, they weren't talked up, obviously, losing Kawhi Leonard as to being one of the genuine contenders for the title, but after beating the Nets 4-0, and admittedly the Nets team has down a couple of their really key players, but that's still 4-0, so they'll move on to the next round. We also had an amazing game between the Nuggets and the Jazz yesterday. Another good stat for you. The first time in NBA playoff history that two players, one on each opposing team, or just two players, have scored 50 points in a playoff game. Jamal Murray there and Donovan Mitchell. So that was Donovan Mitchell's second 50-point game of that series. And and they were the youngest pairing. So there's been 6 pairs to score 50 points in NBA games. That's regular season included. Those two are the youngest pair to do it. Donovan Mitchell, I believe, is only 21. I think Jamal Murray's 22. So those two guys have obviously got huge futures ahead of them. That Nuggets-Jazz series has actually gone the other way. I thought the Nuggets would probably take it out, and they still might, but it's 3-1 to the Jazz. Probably, against expectation, with the Nuggets taking out the first game quite comfortably, even though Donovan scored, I think it was 60 points in that game, 63 points or something. So Nuggets fans, you've got to be a little bit afraid right now. But Mavs and the Clippers is now tied at 2-0, and we'll just show a bit of the footage from that game. Got some of the key moments of that game, and obviously Luka's amazing game winner, so we'll get into that now.
There he is, professional scorer. Lou Williams throws it up. It goes. Clippers doing a good job staying in that zone. Klebus with a nice move. Finney Smith with the pass. And Maxi Kleber with a left hand.
You know what that may be a sign of? He may be losing it. Because that's what I did. Like, you're trying to do the comb over, you're trying to do it.
Doncic misses. Curry pulls up, knocks it down. By the way, his best man at the wedding was Steph Curry. Doncic with a rebound. Trying to draw the foul on Green. Continues all the way, coast to coast, off the glass is game 9. Reggie Jackson hoists up a 3. That's good. Doncic daring him to shoot. Now Williams gets into the paint, kicks it out in the corner. Leonard for 3. That's good now.
Forever.
Lou Williams, what a shot. Paul George, nice crossover, kicks it out. Shamet is open. Shamet hits. Doncic on the drive, falls back, shot is short, gets his own rebound. The put back, he banks it home. Jackson out of control. Doncic stripped and stolen by Lou Williams, and he banks home the follow. Hardaway fires up a 3. That's good. Hardaway from down. Long rebound deflected. Reggie Jackson trying to save it. He does to Leonard. Leonard sets, fires. Bang! Kawhi Leonard from downtown. And it's a 2-point game. Dallas has won. Both teams in the penalty. Leonard drives on Kleber. Jump shot is good. Once again, Leonard on the pull-up jumper. Won't go. Rebound and a quick timeout. Shot clock. Now it's 6. Burke on the drive. The runner blocked by Leonard. Reject. Maxi Kleber with the task of trying to guard Kawhi Leonard. Line drive. Jumper.
Use that strength.
Spins on Jackson. Layup. It's good. 40 points. Gilchrist is on him. Makes his move. Gets into the paint. Stops. Kicks it out. Moore's a corner 3. Puts it in. Marcus. Finney Smith to inbound. Back to Doncic. Doncic pulls up. 3-pointer. Bang! Bang! It's good. Doncic wins the game at the buzzer.
Let's go!
Yeah, how good was that? And I've just got a Luka Doncic stat here from the game. So he had 43 points, 17 rebounds, and 13 assists. He is the first guy in the post-season, so NBA playoff history, to score 40 points, hit the game winner, and have a 40-point triple-double, and hit the game winner. Russell Westbrook is the only other person to do it, and he did it in the regular season against the Nuggets 2 or 3 years ago. So a great game there from Luka. Now we'll just look at some of today's results. Bring those up on the screen. So today the Bucks have beat the Magic quite convincingly, and the Magic beat the Bucks in the first game of that series, which was quite a surprise. I thought of any of the games in the East, that was probably the most likely to be a sweep, but that one is now at 3-1, so the Bucks, looking pretty likely to win that series. Had the Heat beat the Pacers, and last week I actually said it's probably going to be a close series and Pacers will probably win that series, but Pacers are out 4-0. Yeah, a bit of a surprise. TJ Warren, who was amazing in the bubble before the playoffs, he disappeared quite a bit in that series. There was a bit of chat about his him and Jimmy Butler having a bit of beef. So, yeah, I guess Jimmy Butler got the better of him, and he did have a pretty good series, Jimmy Butler. So he's got the last laugh there. Pacers are out. And today we also had the Lakers and the Blazers play. LeBron had a really good game. From three-point land especially, which is unusual for him. He's not a great three-point shooter. And Damian Lillard went off with I think an ankle injury. So it's not looking good for the Blazers. After winning the first game, they're now down 3-1. So that series is looking like the Lakers are going to take that out. Very few teams come back from 1-3 to win a series. Famously, the Warriors did that against the Thunder in the Western Conference Finals. few years ago, and then the Cavs beat the and that same year the Cavs beat the Warriors after being down 3-1. Quite a famous series. And then again, quite famously, Kevin Durant decided it was a good idea to join the Warriors the next year, and then they went on to win a couple more titles. So unlikely for the Blazers to come back from that deficit. And today the Thunder drew level in that series against the Rockets. I also said last week I was picking the Thunder to beat the Rockets in that series. I think with Russell Westbrook out, it's just too much work for the Rockets. But then they went up 2-0 in that series and was getting a bit scared there. But Thunder have come back strong in the last couple of games. And we've got some footage here of the last two games between the Thunder and the Rockets. So, yeah, I'll let you enjoy some of the best action of those couple of games.
Tucker trying to stay with Chris Paul, lost the control. Harden on the break. Count it, and one on the punch. They can afford to rest him a little bit. Time winding down here in the quarter. Schroeder, whistle, foul, count it.
Jeff Green pleading for an offensive foul.
He slipped the screen, got inside on Tucker. That's a favorable matchup, and they can lay up. Thunder can get it down to 2. Chris Paul steaming downhill, gets the layup. And the Thunder really turned it around. They were terrible early. Robert Covington.
Actually, he's doing one heck of a job.
Really moved his feet, as you said. That's going to be the third foul on Tucker. Chris Paul hits the 3. And here comes Oklahoma City up by 1 now. Gilgeous-Alexander from deep. Houston's missed its last 9 in a row. Schroeder got it.
Yeah, see those small guards.
Fires the 3. And good block out by P.J. Tucker. Quick hit ahead. Jeff Green, room service at the other end. Boy, Chris Paul. Was that a drill on the shot clock? A couple of jab steps, and Gordon on the drive-by and says it with his chest. Eric Gordon got Chris Paul with the mid-range. Got to his spot and made it count. Bigger and stronger Adams.
Why doesn't he try to punish him on the box?
Didn't even look at the basket. No. They get one out of behind the Adams screen. Cleared the path, and Schroeder took advantage. Had some good moments this year. First-year player. With the left hand, Dennis Schroeder.
Led all players in the regular season scoring off the bench.
Harden spins into Dort. Great defense.
They've been so good when they've moved the ball. At least force one closeout, one rotation. What a big, that is a big.
Nice hesitation move by Gordon. Gilgeous-Alexander with the mid-range. This time it's Jeff Green. He's connected from deep today. This one a little bit strong. House with the rebound. Nice move underneath and got the layup to Gilgeous-Alexander playing him straight up. Green lets the 3 fly. Got it! Jeff. Harden pulling his way to the bucket. That's pretty physical. 3-point lead. Jeff Green getting downhill. Green with the punch. What a game for Jeff Green. This is a... Schroeder gets it back. Stares down Harden. Fires. Got it. What Mike D'Antoni's doing with having Jeff Green bring the ball up.
Well, I like it there because he was going to get... He thought he got a shot for James Harden.
And that was his first 3 on 4 attempts. Chris Paul to the basket.
That's too easy if you're Houston. Make House put it on the deck. He doesn't. Nice D.
Chris Paul inside again. Adams gets this one to fall, and they get another easy one, Doris. It's a 1-point game.
That's going to be a foul on Chris Paul, yeah. I mean, there was a lot of contact both ways, and James Harden, that right shoulder that was bothering him at the half, he just fell on that, Mark.
Yeah, he did, and double foul call on that.
I think double would have been the right thing to do.
And look at this, another collision. Players hit the court again, goes out of bounds. It must have been touched. See if it was touched by anybody.
Oh, did Adams fingertips?
Adams got a piece.
Did Adams, because the way he went after.
Dort sets a screen on Jeff Green for Paul. Harden switches onto him. Paul gets to the bucket for the lead. Gilgeous-Alexander got it! The Thunder. He misses, and Schroeder gets the rebound. Dort rejects it. A double screen. Paul gets around Harden. Reverse layup. Oh! It rims out. Harden staring him down.
So this game went to overtime.
Man, with that Schroeder, the preferred matchup offensively. Green has been great defensively. Shot clock down to 6 for Chris Paul. The three coming and falling.
Chris Paul has been the best player in the clutch this year, which means the last 5 minutes of the game when the game's within 5 points. And again, Chris Paul has showed his quality in overtime in this game.
Gilgeous-Alexander, Dort inside. 3 games to nothing. A deficit no team in a 7-game series has ever overcome. And Mike D'Antoni is hot.
He's knocking in shots.
There you go. Chris Paul down the lane. Oh.
You know, he's on the Rockets.
Harden rattling in the three.
Houston's biggest lead at 6.
Great start to the third quarter for the Rockets.
Oh, Gordon hanging in
tougher for this Houston Rockets team to put the ball through the net.
Gordon step back. And how about 3 for the Rockets? 7 of 7 as Chris Paul finally ends the skip. Covington inside. That draw and kick. 8 for 8 are the Rockets. 34% as a team during the year. They make up for it in volume. And Chris Paul answers
Dort down. Even though he's the younger player, he may be the stronger player, especially his lower body. And speaking of lower body, Chris Paul gets his legs right there in that rhythm jump shot.
Again, off a made basket, a run. Oklahoma City started 7 of 12 on threes. They're 0 for their last 12. Baisley ends that
halftime.
And that's when Harden was sitting. And Noel batting that back out. Chris Paul flipping it up and in. The field goal and the foul.
Of Chris Paul, along with Adam Silver and Michelle Roberts.
Well, the Rockets led by 15. It's down to 4 as Noel got step back 3 is flat. Chris Paul with the rebound. 3 seconds to work with. At 1, Schroeder to end the quarter. Good!
Now you got an opportunity in the fourth quarter on the bookend to close it out and win this quarter. That's one thing you're going to have.
He's just playing off the ball this possession as Covington hits that 3. Now, 21 made threes. The 3 of 18 on threes since that point in the game.
And
And they now trail the whole game. That's amazing. Gallinari, deep 2. And so here comes OKC.
Shooting over the top or getting to the basket.
Well, Lou Dort has Harden 8 of 21 from the field as Daniel House.
Well, I'm going to say it's easy, but you were able to get a 2 inside. But then conversely, on the opposite end of the court, you allow
Lou Dort, who's been tasked with guarding him all night. And Harden right to the rim, and Houston's got the lead again.
To catch and shoot. A lost possession right there for the Rockets.
Chris Paul gets around Harden all the way to the rim. CP3 puts the Thunder back up. Green down the lane, flipping it up in response. This one off. Chris Paul, mid-range jumper.
2-point conversions to kind of stay within, have a chance to close out this fourth quarter with the W.
Harden hitting a 3, and this 4% free thrower, and he rims the first one in. Now, if you miss the first one short, do you feel better on the second one? They'll get it into Daniel House. He thought about that 3. Jeff Green will launch the 3, rim that out. Intriguing series in the Western Conference. So how about OKC? They even things at 2 apiece. That 3 thrown in at the end will actually go to replay to make sure it counts. And Dort fouling James Harden. Now,
So here we see a little
Westbrook was going to be a factor in this
attitude
game.
battle, I guess, here with Russell
Going
Westbrook
at it
and
during the last time
James
out.
Harden.
Teammates for 7 years. and it got a little spicy back and forth.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of looks like one of my good friends when they ruin one of my Cuban cigars. Even though we're really close, I'm like, you know what I mean? We could be good friends, but something in between those plays, that timeout, between the two, kind of ticked somebody off. I don't know if it was Russell first saying something or Steven, but I'd like to find out what the conversation was all about.
How was that, eh? Thunder back in it, 2-2. So I'm sticking with my theory that the Thunder are going to take that series out. Russell Westbrook was practicing before the game, and he did look pretty good. He was pretty explosive and wasn't holding back particularly. So who knows? Russ may be back for Game 5, which I think, Thunder probably doesn't want that. There was moments where the Rockets lacked a lot of options on the fence. Basically, they, as they say, live or die by the three. So they're putting up a lot of three-pointers. And there was one stage at the start of the third quarter, they hit 8 consecutive three-pointers. But then after that, they hit something like 4 from the next 25 attempts. And they shot an NBA record. Don't quote me on this, but I think it was 64 three-pointers in the game, which is unbelievable. There was guys 20 years ago who were great NBA players who probably didn't shoot 64 three-point, goals in their careers. So, yeah, it can work for them. Obviously, the first couple of games, the role players on the team all contributed a lot more, and hopefully the Thunder take out that series. The guards in the Thunder have been really good. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Chris Paul, and then Schroeder coming off the bench. Schroeder had a huge game today, scored 30 points off the bench. So with Chris Paul, Shai, and Dennis Schroeder all playing together, with Steven Adams and Gallinari, those 5 players are actually the best combination of 5 players in the whole competition. In terms of their for and against stats, that's the best statistically, the best 5 players playing together. So Steven Adams has been quieter than I would have hoped in this series. He hasn't had a lot to do in terms of scoring. It's like sometimes when he's got a little ankle injury, which has come back from, you can sort of see he's lacking a bit of confidence with his footwork in the post. And he's at the moment, he's really a pass-first player instead of, when he's really fit, he's doing a lot more post moves. He'll back up against smaller guys, and he's playing against smaller guys. Houston Rockets are playing small ball. Their centers, I think 6'8", 6'9", the size of their centers, playing against Steve, who's a 7-footer. So he should have quite a bit of size advantage, and he has been rebounding well. But yeah, hopefully Steve, if there is a bit of a niggle there, he comes back.
I've got some stats for you now, because you said not to quote you on the on that, because I thought I'd bring it up. So here's the stats from that game today, and we'll see here that the Rockets made 58 3-pointers.
58, yeah.
Which is still, as you say, a lot of. I'm just trying to get a bigger screen there for us a bit. Coming down then to the Thunder point, and as you say, Schroeder coming off the bench, 30 points to lead the team. It's unusual, isn't it, for the bench, for your bench player to come on and actually lead the scoring? Yeah,
well, Dennis Schroeder is the probably the favourite this year to be sixth man of the year. So basically, the sixth man of the year is the best bench player in the competition. So often, if you've got a really good sixth man, they lead that second unit when they come on, and they take the bulk of the scoring. So he has been one of the best six men this year. So yeah, it's not that usual for a guy on the bench to lead the scoring, but if you've got a really good six man, generally their role is just to come on and score when your first unit's taken a bit of a rest.
And I did see a headline. I'm not a big basketball person. I saw a headline suggesting that maybe Steve Adams would get less game time because they are up against a small team, and that actually the small team or the shorter guys have been doing well.
Yeah, it's really hard to defend against a small, quick team when you're 7 foot and not so fast guarding the small guys. So he has been at times a bit of a liability against smaller teams. So he does get benched against those smaller lineups. I think bigger men can dominate small when they don't have, the big guy. They can just dominate in that paint. But Steve just isn't quite that guy at the moment. And I think it might be a confidence thing. So he probably will. And today, I think he played 26, 28 minutes, as opposed to most of the starters are playing about 35, 40 minutes. So
yep, spot on. Yeah, 26 minutes. Yeah, and you say, Dort 35.
And it all depends on who they play if they do make it through to the next series, who they're playing will dictate whether how much game time he plays. And because his free throw shooting isn't that great, I think his percentage this year is about 60%. So that means he only makes 6 out of 10 free throws. So often in the crunch time of a game, people will foul that player who's not a very consistent free throw shooter, because they know if they're only shooting 50% from the line, they're only going to make 1 point from that play, as opposed to maybe making 2 or 3. So there has been teams in the past who have fouled Stephen on purpose just to make him go to the line and shoot.
Cool.
And I'll just get you to bring up the bracket there.
Just one question on the bracket. We've seen that 3 sides from the east have swept, but no one from the west. I guess a question for you there: do you think the fewer games they've had to play early on will help them come perhaps the finals time?
Yeah, obviously they get a lot more rest. They'll get, depending on how long the other series go, they might get 4, 5, 6, 7 days off. So they should come back nice and fresh. Whereas, the Bucks are probably likely to win that next game, so they're still fresh. Whereas, I mean, if it gets down to the finals and one team's played 10 games less than the other team, there probably is quite a lot less fatigue, because they are playing every second day. And, generally there's 82 games in a season. I think this year there was 60 something. So they are playing a lot of games. So yeah, that Magic and Bucks series, the winner of all that will go against the Heat. Really looking forward to the Celtics and the Raptors. That should be a really, really good series. Really can't pick. I've really liked the Celtics for the last couple of years, especially with Kemba Walker. And I've got a really awesome Kemba Walker stat. So Kemba Walker was with the Hornets for a number of years. He's now won 4 playoff games with the Celtics. But in the previous previous 8 years with Charlotte, he only won 3 playoff games. So he's won 4 in a week, and he won 3 in 8 years on his previous team. So he's great fit for that team. Kemba Walker and Tatum there lead that team. really young and they've had potential, but they've just been a bit young. So this really could be the year. But I mean, the Toronto Raptors have been fantastic. They're in the West, the Lakers and the Blazers. Obviously, the Lakers are probably going to go through that one. We'll be playing either the Rockets or the Thunder. And I think Steve is going to get a lot of game time in that series. He'll need to against Anthony Davis. The big man is really dominant there for the Lakers, so they'll need Steve to guard him in the post. The Jazz 3-1 up against the Nuggets, and the Clippers 2-2 with the Mavs. I think the Clippers are still going to get through that series. Porzingis didn't play the last game, another star on the Mavs, and Luka just had a really good game. So I'm picking probably this time next week will be the Clippers and probably be the Jazz. It's just too hard for the Nuggets to come back from 3-1 down. So we're probably looking at Jazz, Clippers, Lakers, and I really want to say OKC. I'm gunning for them. And just before we finish the show, there's just one more video. So this is the game between the Nuggets and the Utah Jazz, where Donovan Mitchell and Jamal Murray both scored 50 points. We just got a bit of footage the last few minutes of that game, and that'll take the show out for tonight.
We might need to have a little chat for a while that downloads. I've not quite got that one.
That was a bit of a last-minute one there. So has there been any other questions there, Paul?
Not really a question, but Simon makes the comment there that the Western Conference is a better conference. Now, is it the stronger conference, more competitive? And are we just seeing that it's weak sides in the East that's allowing sweeps, or
Yeah, well, the West has been the dominant conference for a very long time. Even back in Michael Jordan's day, the Western Conference was stronger. Michael Jordan and the Bulls, obviously, in the East. But it was really a fight every year for who was going to win the West and then who went up against Michael Jordan and lost. But generally stronger. It's been a lot stronger, especially the last 5 or 10 years. LeBron James has had a really easy run. That's why he's made so many final series, because he's been in the East. And he's formed basically the last 10 years. He's had his own teams that he's formed to be the most dominant team. You know, he's got his mates in to join him. And so he's had a bit of a free run. So I really think the 9 final series he's been in has been quite inflated because he has been in the weaker conference. And he swept some semi-final series 4-0. You know, you shouldn't be sweeping a semi-final series 4-0, but that just showed the competition was a lot weaker over there in the East.
Cool. Well, we've got that video now, so we can head over to that. What was the last video to finish off?
Cool. And that'll be me for this week, and we'll be back next week with more footage on the basketball show. Cheers, Paul.
I've just realized I forgot to include audio. Sorry, folks. I'll just bring it up with audio this time. Otherwise, you've had it in silence.
Probably had enough of me talking, so.
Hoop it every night here in the NBA bubble. Murray gets a friendly bounce, just a scoring machine right now.
If you ask him, but I'll tell you what, no better feeling to step back 3 in the bubble for the win.
He's in double figures now, his second made 3. Mitchell all the way in. Here's Porter again, he's feeling it, and he rattles that one home. Michael Porter Jr. hits his first 3 of the night, and it's a 5-point game.
2 for $1. You hate to give a 3-point shooter a second consecutive look off of an offensive rebound.
Totally flipped the offensive rebounds and the second chance plays. Oh, Bear! Strong two-handed jam. And a 3-point Utah lead. Under 4 minutes to go in this fourth quarter. Conley lets go Bear, clear some space, and Conley scores it.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Trailing by 5. Murray's had a monster game. Here's Jokic for 3. Big hit for the Nuggets. Nikola Jokic delivers a 3 ball, and it's a 2-point game now. Jokic with 25. It's his third made 3. Jeremy Grant checking Mitchell. The screen Gobert. Here's Mitchell now. Pull up from the free throw line. He's got it.
Too easy.
Smooth as silk.
Too easy. Too easy. You cannot get here tonight.
Mitchell will get it organized. Shot clock down to 4. Mitchell has Millsap on him. He'll pull a 3, and he hits a 3. And returns the stare down. Donovan Mitchell, a clutch 3-pointer for the Jazz.
In the pick and roll action, he's been hot. You need to keep milking him and let him get in that pick and roll with Jokic.
Jokic turns the corner all the way in. Dunk number 3 of the night for Nikola
The
Jokic.
timeout or on the offensive play.
Mitchell to make it a 2-possession game. He does so. A perfect night from the charity stripe. 14 in a row for Donovan Mitchell. He's got 48 points now. 4-point game. Let's see if Murray wants to put up a 3, working with Jokic. Murray goes to the hole. Murray hangs. Murray can't get it to go. O'Neal with a big rebound. And now fouls come. Monte Morris gets Mitchell back to the line. He goes, and a defensive stand for the Jazz.
I get that Murray is
The spot in game 4. No announcer jinx. I can see that look of caution in your eyes. How about that? First time opposing players have gone for 45 plus in a playoff game. The history of the NBA, it hasn't happened. Mitchell and Murray. Mitchell's got 50. Murray with 45. Still a 2-possession game. Twice it has happened that a player scored 50 in a playoff series. Isaiah and MJ have done it. Mitchell is the third to do it. You got 16 consecutive free throws.
He's the only one that you should inbound with that reputation. And you need an opportunity to shed a reputation. Well, you have an opportunity now, being down 3-1 in the series.
Still a 2-possession game after Murray. 6.8 seconds left. And Mitchell makes it a 5-point game. Denver's got to go quick. Murray hits a long one here. He'll have 50. He's sitting on 47. He'll pull the 3. He's got the 3. 50-point game. First time in history opponents score 50 apiece, but this one belongs to the Utah Jazz as they ride.
So pretty phenomenal scoring there. And just sorry, one more stat I prepared. So Paul George, playoff P as he likes to call himself. So he's really was a letdown in Oklahoma City there in the playoffs the last couple of years. He had a good reputation when he was with Indiana Pacers and they dueled with Miami Heat, LeBron James' team. But so this playoff series between the Mavs and the Clippers, Paul George has shot 20 from 69. So he's the star player. Him and Kawhi Leonard are the star players on that team. 20 from 69. So he's shooting just under 30% from the field for that series. So I think the Clippers really need Paul George to step up if they're going to take that series out.
Great. Thank you very much, Dan, for bringing us the basketball show this evening. Folks, don't forget to join us next Tuesday at 8 p.m. for the basketball show. Also, you can join the morning sports briefing at 7 a.m. each morning, and where I will bring you just the scores of the basketball. And obviously, this is your weekly basketball fix. So thank you, Dan, again, and thank you everyone who's joined us for the show.
Thanks, Paul. See you all next week.